What's up, guys? It's Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth. Back tonight to talk about wrestling. What the channel is all about wrestling. Uh, I told people, some of my subscribers and some of the people that I follow on YouTube, that I will be doing a questions and answers video. So I have 13 questions here from a few of my friends on YouTube, and I'm going to get into them, and I'm going to try to answer them with my opinion and what I think is the best answers for the questions that they ask. Now, my first question on the list is from the Iceman. And his question is, what's your opinion on the WWE monopolizing most of wrestling? Is it good or is it bad? In my opinion, it is bad because we have the WWE, we have TNA, we have Ring of Honor, and we have the Indies. And none of those guys can compete with WWE. And in wrestling, or any other kind of sports or company or anything like that in life, you always want to have competition, because competition, in this instant, would make wrestling better. So yeah, I think it's bad. I would love to see somehow TNA, Ring of Honor, any of them, some kind of company, get up there and compete with WWE, because I think it's better for wrestling. And that would be my answer for that question. I think it's more entertaining when you have two companies that are competing against each other on the same level, you know. TNA has some good wrestlers, but they're nowhere even in the league of the WWE. And the same for Ring of Honors. And we know about how the Indies work. So, yeah, I think it's bad. I definitely think it's bad. Number 2 question is also from the Iceman. Who do I think are the 5 most underrated wrestlers of all time? Now, and no, this is not in any order, but one would have to be Shelton Benjamin. I always liked Shelton Benjamin. I thought Shelton Benjamin was really going to be something in this business. I think he should have got more pushes in the WWE than he did. I mean, he's one of the most athletic and talented guys in the business, period. I mean, I remember watching a match on Raw with him and Shawn Michaels that was just great, you know. The lighter matches he was in was great. I mean, I know he was Intercontinental and United States champ and tag champ, but it would have been cool for him to be world champion or WWE champion. And, you know, he was an All-American wrestler from Minnesota. Had a lot of potential, and the WWE really didn't do a whole lot with him. He's one of my all-time underrated wrestlers. Another guy on the list that I felt was underrated was Arn Anderson. You know, I know the Horseman was all about Ric Flair, but if you go back and if you go back and watch some of those matches, the Horsemen were in. Arn Anderson really could work. He could really carry them, you know. He could get in there and work 10, 15 minutes nonstop. He had great moves. He knew the business. And it's a shame that he never got to hold a world title. Because that would have been cool. I would have liked, I know Arn Anderson and Ric Flair at one time faced each other, but it would have been a lot better if they fought for the World Heavyweight title and Arn Anderson beat him. That's just my opinion. I mean, Arn Anderson was a tag champ, you know, a couple times. But I thought Arn Anderson had everything that you needed to be it in this business. You know, as they say, the it factor. I think Arn Anderson was really underrated. And I might get some heat for this, but I would have put him in Luger's spot any day of the week. Arn Anderson just had it all, you know. It's sad his career ended early. Yeah. Second guy on my list is Arn Anderson. The third guy on my list is Lance Storm. Lance Storm, Canadian wrestler, phenomenal wrestler. Another one that retired young. Another one that never really gets the props to what he deserves, and he's another guy that's never talked about. I remember watching some of his ECW matches, and they were just phenomenal. I remember in Smoky Mountain Wrestling when he tagged with Jericho, they were hell of a tag team. Lance Storm definitely underrated as hell. Definitely underrated, Lance Storm. And another guy that I felt was underrated, and it might be because of the size, I'm not real sure, in my opinion, was Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko could go. I mean, he could wrestle his ass off, really wrestle. I remember some of the old matches in ECW that he had with Eddie Guerrero that were just phenomenal matches, man. He could have definitely been more in this business than what he was as well. I think he's overlooked a whole lot, mainly because of his size. But I definitely had to put Dean Malenko on this list. And then the last guy is another horseman that nobody ever talks about, and that is Barry Windham. Barry Windham was a big dude that could work. He was world champion once, I believe, maybe twice. I think once I know of. Just naturally gifted in the ring. Really could work good. Comes from a wrestling family, of course. Once he got to the WWE, they never knew what to do with him. They give him some stupid gimmick and never do nothing with him. I also think Barry Windham definitely underrated. Definitely could have been more in this business. Yeah. A couple other guys that I know those are my five, but other guys that I could have put on this list are Kane, who I think is underrated. William Regal, also I feel is underrated. There might be a few others, but those are my top five. Shelton Benjamin, Arn Anderson, Lance Storm, Dean Malenko, and Barry Windham. And the last question on here from Iceman is, who would you like to see Undertaker wrestle at WrestleMania 30? Well, I would like to see him wrestle Sting, but at this point in their careers, I do not know how great of a match that would be. So, we've seen Undertaker wrestle just about everybody. I'd like to see him work Cena at WrestleMania 30. I think that would be cool. I would like to see Cena as a heel at that match. But those would be the two guys. Sting, which will never happen. But if it did, I don't know if it would be as good of a match as it would have been years ago. Maybe I'm wrong. Or John Cena. Because I think Cena being the number one guy in the company, and it would even give it a twist of being unpredictable, because Cena would probably be the closest guy to beat Undertaker at this point. But we'll have to see how everything unfolds. But those would be my two guys. Those are all my questions that I got from the Iceman. Iceman, dude, thanks, man, for plugging me today. And thanks for sending in the questions, man. I'm grateful for that. Now, my number 4 question comes from Gemini 888. He said, who is my all-time favorite wrestler? Well, this one's hard because I have Hogan and Austin at the 2 spot. But my number 1 favorite wrestler of all time is Bret the Hitman Hart. I just always loved watching Bret Hart work, you know. I loved it when he was a face early in the WWE. I loved the Hart Foundation. I loved watching Bret win the Intercontinental belt against Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam. I loved his wrestling style. His mic skills weren't the best, but his ring work always made up for that. Yeah, big Bret Hart fan. I loved when he turned heel. He was a killer heel right before he left WWF. He definitely wasn't used right in WCW, but Bret Hart is my all-time favorite wrestler. Number 5 question also comes from Gemini. What is your all-time WWE and WCW pay-per-view you have ever seen? Well, my favorite WCW one would be the Starrcade 98, I want to say, when Sting come back to beat Hogan for the title. I really enjoyed that one. There's been many more before that, like the Starrcades and the War Games in the 80s, you know. And as for WWE, this one was really hard because I tell you what, I have a tie for number 2, and that would be WrestleMania 7 and Royal Rumble 92. But my all-time favorite WWE pay-per-view was SummerSlam 1991. I loved it from top to bottom. I loved the pay-per-view. I love the storylines. I like the outcomes of the matches. That just from Bret Hart winning the Intercontinental title, the Boss Man and Mountie, Legion of Doom, Nasty Boys, the Warrior and Hogan versus Slaughter and them. I just love the pay-per-view. It's my favorite WWE pay-per-view of all time, though, by far. And yeah, Gemini, thanks, man, for taking the time to send in some questions. But yeah, SummerSlam 91, definitely my favorite. Now, the next 4 questions come from a new subscriber on my channel. I hope I get his name right, and I believe it is Team Rai. I hope I got that right. If I didn't, buddy, I'm sorry. But if you don't know him, go check out his channel. He's got a good channel. But his first question is your DVD collection on WWE or just movies? Most of my collection are wrestling. I have over 300 WWE DVDs. I have about 20 TNA. I have like 10 shoot interviews. I want to get the new High Spots video, the Crockett's, the good old days. That looks like a killer ass DVD I'd like to get. But other than that, I have a bunch of silly movies. Like I have all of the Ghost Hunters. I like the Ghostbusters. The movie Seven with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I dig the Madea movies. Scarface, old mob movies or ghetto gangster movies. But mostly I have wrestling. I have all combined. I'm nowhere, trust me, brother, I'm nowhere near Gemini. Let's get that straight right now. I'm nowhere near his collection, but I have altogether I have 360 wrestling DVDs. And I actually have a few that I bought here lately, 4 new ones. They're not, one of them's new, the other ones are kind of old, but I'll review them soon. But yeah, mainly WWE movies. This is another one from him, and it is, when do you think CM Punk will be champ again? Well, if CM Punk stays with the company, honestly, maybe WrestleMania. Because, he's feuding with Paul Heyman and them, and they're going to do that for a while. I can already see it. But I've been hearing that he may leave WWE, but I don't see it. He'll stick around. But I could see him winning it at WrestleMania 30, unless he works a legend. Honestly, dude, I'm not real sure when he'll be champ again. Maybe he'll win the Royal Rumble this year, and then win it at WrestleMania. That would be my thoughts. It would make the most sense, you know. Because they're going to carry out this storyline with Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel and now Ryback. We're going to see that. We're going to see that probably up until Survivor Series. December, maybe. In my opinion. What is the best storyline in WWE you like ever? Wow. Wow, that's a tough one there. I like the Austin McMahon. I like the storyline where the Four Horsemen broke Dusty Rhodes' arm. Man, there's been so many. It's hard to say one. The formation of the NWO, Hall, Kevin Nash, Hall, Nash, and Hogan was a good one. I can't say that I have a favorite. There's been so many. And there's been so many great ones. So it's really hard for me to say. Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I always liked the Kane and Undertaker storyline from the beginning. It was cool. And the Rock and Sock connection. It's pretty fucking hilarious. There's more out there, trust me. That's a hard one. I never even thought about it. Now my next four are from my buddy on here, Boston fan, 79P1. He has some pretty good questions. And if you ain't never seen his channel, definitely go check out his channel. He's got a killer channel. Next question, Boston fan. Who was the worst wrestler I ever met, attitude-wise? Wow. This one is a toss-up between CM Punk and Vader. Both of them were very unprofessional to their fans. I don't know if I caught them on a bad day, but CM Punk was being rude to kids and all the fans that came because he had an autograph session at OVW, and he was just being rude to everybody, man, like rushing them, talking crazy to people. Like, for instance, my experience, I got up there to the table, and he's like, "What picture you want, man? We need to hurry up here. I got things to do." And I was like, "Damn, I thought you were cool." It was the first time I met CM Punk. I had seen CM Punk work in the Indies forever, and I never knew he was like that. And while we're talking about CM Punk, I let a little information out that a lot of people don't know. And this is coming from a really good source. A guy by the name of Simon Says, independent wrestler that wrestled CM Punk. And CM Punk comes off with this straight edge persona, but dude is a heavy weed smoker. Not knocking it, but if you're going to knock Jeff Hardy and other guys for doing stuff like that, don't be so hypocritical, man. And with Vader, I met Vader at an indie show. He when I met Vader, he just had this attitude of he did not want to be there. Uh, we had to get in the ring to meet Vader at a table, and he was just real grumpy. Excuse me, real grumpy, and he was yelling at some lady at ringside, getting water. He needed some goddamn water. He'd been waiting on water for 25 fucking minutes. People were bringing stuff up. They had like 3 items, and he's like, I don't sign no more than 2 items, and they're $10 a piece. And if you want a picture, it's $15. You need to listen when I talk. He even asked this one. There was even one handicapped kid, and he told him, he's like, how many times do I have to tell you how much an autograph price is? And he kind of like slammed the table. I know the guys, that was my experience, but I know guys that worked with him on that show in the locker room, and he was a total dick to him. He tried to hold up the show for a high dollar price before he left, after it was a guaranteed contract of what he was getting paid. He treated the fans like shit, and he treated the wrestlers like shit. So those are the 2 dicks wrestlers that I met. And it's sad because growing up I was a huge Vader fan. And it's to see him acting like that really was just horrible. Alright, another question from Boston fan. Do you have a favorite indie match that you went to see live? I do. Back in 2002 it was the IWA Mid-South in Clarksville, Indiana, and it was a 4 corners death match, and it was before any of these guys were big. It was CM Punk, Drake Younger. I know a lot of y'all don't know who Drake Younger is, but he's a huge on the indie scene. John Moxley, who is Dean Ambrose, and Samoa Joe. Killer match. I mean, not only is it one of my favorite indie matches, it's one of my favorite matches ever. I mean, these guys just beat the shit out of each other, man. Thumbtacks, barbed wires, tables, a glass picture frame, everything. CM Punk, no, Samoa Joe actually won the match, but killer match, my favorite Indies match of all time. I'll never forget it. If y'all don't know much about the IWA Mid-South back in the day, a lot of guys came from there. CM Punk, Dean Ambrose, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. I mean, there's a ton of guys that came from there. Chris Hero. Yeah, but that was by far my favorite Indies match live that I've ever seen. And it's funny that all of these guys made it big except Drake Younger. And Drake Younger, believe it or not, I don't know if y'all know who he is, could outwork most of these guys. But yeah, that was my favorite. What's your favorite pay-per-view match in WWE history? Well, Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart, SummerSlam 1991. It was a wrestling clinic, epic match from jump, start to the end. And what made it even more better was that's when the Intercontinental belt meant something. It was Bret Hart's first single title. Awesome match. I could watch this match over and over and over and over again. It's just an unbelievable match. From time to time, I still watch it. And another one was when Stone Cold beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14 for the WWE title. That was cool shit. I really, really enjoyed that. And my last question is, have you ever been to a WrestleMania live? I have been to one. I was a young child, and I went to WrestleMania 8. Great experience for me. You had Savage and Flair. You had Hogan and Sid. And I remember during the Hogan and Sid match when Papa Shango come out to interfere. And I remember that night when Warriors music hit and he came out to save Hogan. It was the loudest fucking pop I'd ever heard. My ears are ringing. When I left that night, I felt like I just got out of a rock concert, man. The Bret Hart Roddy Piper match was awesome. Undertaker Jake the Snake match was awesome. There was a lot of great matches on that night, and that unfortunately that's the only WrestleMania that I've ever been to. They never have been close. The closest they've been to where I'm from is Chicago at WrestleMania 22, which I think is a very, very underrated WrestleMania. I wish I could have got to go there, but at the time I couldn't make it. But yeah, man, that's the last question, and I really, really enjoyed making this video. Thanks to Iceman, Gemini, Team Rah-Rah, and Boston Fan for sending in them questions. Maybe again one day we can do another one of these. It's been fun. And, go subscribe to Gemini. Go subscribe to Iceman. Go subscribe to Team Rah-Rah. Go subscribe to Boston Fan. And I just... Double Z TV, I think is his name, man. You didn't send me no questions, man. Send me some, man. But, yeah, glad to talk about wrestling again tonight. Sorry about the video I had to make last night, but I just felt like it was necessary. Now I got another goofball, dumbass, writing shit on commenting on my videos. Whatever, dude. You're not even worth my time, bro. But, yeah, like I always say, man, get your money and pay your bills. Peace.